What kind of crazy, sadistic world are we living in when October 2023 is the highest month for grading cards, trading cards, in the history of the world? Let's dig in. Stick around. What's going on, sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends? How we doing? We are nearing the end of the week, thank goodness. I am ready for NFL football. I'm ready for some hot tub action. I just need a little bit of a break this week. It's been a wild one already. If you're new here looking for daily sports card collectibles style content, you have come to the right place. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and connect with me on IG at Sports Card Dad. 2 items of news today, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video. We're going to talk about grading stuff first, and then there's a card that just got pulled that's got all this craziness around it that is highly dumb. So we're going to talk about that last. All right, grading numbers are in total, and this is just the main big 4 companies, PSA, CGC, SGC, and Beckett, 1,676,000 cards were graded in the month of October. And that's not including all the other grading companies that exist. So there's probably 2 million plus cards in the overall space that got graded in October. It's unbelievable. So PSA sits right around where they were at 1.2 million total cards. CGC at 272,000 cards. That's a plus 85%. We'll dig into the details more there, but they saw a huge increase. SGC, our friends over at SGC, full transparencies. SGC is a sponsor / partner of the channel, so take into account my bias. We'll talk about SGC as well in a little bit. Plus 12% from last month. Beckett, 75,000 cards total, plus 22%. And we don't even know who works over there. We don't even know who the hell runs the company, and they're up 22%. I did hear they had their Beckett grading event. I think that it was out in Las Vegas. I heard about it. Maybe they got a bump from that. I have no idea, but it's crazy. Up across the board. There is no slowing down on the grading front. All right, so let's break this thing down a little bit. PSA graded 644,000 sports cards, 556,000 TCG and non-sport. We've been talking about this. TCG has become about 40, 45, 50% of PSA's overall business. The rise in grading TCG has been unprecedented. I mean, never before have these grading companies graded this sort of volume on the TCG side. And I remember too, PSA opened up in Asia. Remember, they've got offices that are opening up. They're starting to grade cards in Japan. I believe they have an office in Korea and South Korea. They've got a lot of things going on around the world. I believe they also have a European branch. So they have got a more of a global presence than any of the other companies as far as being able to take submissions. I'd really be curious to know what their total submissions come from overseas, just out of curiosity. I don't know if GemRate will be able to eventually get that sort of breakdown. I've talked to Ryan over there about that, going back in time a little bit. I think it's probably pretty difficult because he's going based on the population report, not on where the thing came from, where the submission came from. Anyway, maybe Nat Turner will talk about that at some point in the future in an interview. But PSA stays steady, stays strong, and it looks like now they're staying consistent at 1.2 million cards. They were sitting around 1 million cards for a while, and it looks like their capacity has increased another, 20% up to 1.2 million because they've consistently done 1.2 million going over a few months now. All right, the big story here, CGC at 272,000 cards. And actually, GemRate, probably knowing that there's going to be question marks like, what kind of an increase? How did this happen? They have reached out to CGC, and essentially CGC said, hey, look, there's nothing with our pop report. We are doing some maintenance stuff, but this is representative of grading numbers for CGC in October. Now, GemRate speculating a little bit that there is most likely, probably, maybe some kind of a partnership in place. Don't know exactly what that partnership is. Maybe that'll come out as we move forward. But basically what GemRate is saying is we saw for a few different sets in particular, 2009 Pokemon Supreme Victors, 2011 Pokemon Black and White, 2005 EX Deoxys. I'm probably saying it all wrong. But the main point is those sets had a much higher velocity of cards submitted than other sets. So that was kind of like when he broke down that data of like what's getting graded, there was a very high number of this stuff here. So I want to know who partnered with CGC, because somebody did on the TCG side. If you look at their numbers, 17,000 sports cards, 255,000 TCG cards for CGC. They're mainly a TCG grading company at this point. Yes, they are grading sports cards, but this is really a massive increase on their TCG side. They were already doing solid numbers on the TCG side, but this is like double what they were doing before. So I guess a question mark, if it is a partnership, is that reoccurring business, or is that a huge trough that kind of came through for a month or 2 months? We'll have to see. I'm just interested in knowing more, because I always think about when we're looking at this, grading company strategy always fascinates me, because you've got PSA, of course, it's grading, they've got the volume, they've got the infrastructure, the capacity. And then you've got the other companies that are kind of dinking and dunking, and they've got their own strategies to grow their business, and they are all growing their business. That's what's kind of amazing. All right, so we'll keep an eye on CGC, but they had a fantastic month. SGC, our guys and gals, at 129,000 cards, 112,000 sports cards, 17,000 TCG. They're making a little bit of headway. There is a lot of TCG business. I've been saying this for months and months and months, maybe up to a year, how I hope that SGC can get more of the TCG business. 17,000 cards, that represents a 75% increase from the previous month. So they haven't historically done a lot of TCG. You see a bump here. It would be really nice to see that kind of increase. And so SGC running different specials and that sort of thing. They've got a few things in the works that I'm excited about that are going to be coming out here over the next few months. And they've done some really unique marketing type stuff. They've lowered prices here over the last little bit. And so we will see what happens here with SGC. They are second in terms of grading sports cards. PSA obviously number 1. SGC is far and away number 2 grading sports cards in the space. Beckett hanging on. They're hanging in there. 75,000 cards. They're up 22% from the previous month. They had taken a dip down to about 50,000 cards, and they're back to kind of where they were. So 35,000 sports cards, 39,000 TCG. Their business, again, about 50-50 in a similar fashion to PSA. Brand recognition keeps Beckett in it, and I think the people like the case. It's a thick, sturdy case that Beckett provides. So you do have to give them credit. They got a nice quality case there. People like the subgrades, and they keep on going. Even though, again, I don't hear a lot out of that company as far as just announcements or specials or that sort of thing. I think they could certainly use to be a little bit more out there, in with the people a little bit more. But hey, whatever. They continue on. All 4 of these companies really, I think, provide good value in different ways. You know, depending on what you're trying to do, depending on what you're grading. Is it a PC card? Is it an autograph card? Is it a patch card? You know, you have all these different options, and each company, you know, gives you a value add. So again, what really shocks me about this, I've been saying it, is just the amount of graded cards. And we also know that prices have been moving down on a lot of cards, and flipping activity is certainly not as easy or really as prevalent as it was if we go back, you know, a few years, obviously, when it was just really easy, quick flip. Now it's not as easy to flip, but hey, if the number of cards being graded is this high, then people have to be selling it somewhere. And I think, and we go back to, you know, kind of conversations that we've had and what I've noticed at the National and shows, repacks. I think that there is a lot of cards being graded specifically for repacks. It just makes sense at this point. If you are a David Adams Hit Parade or some of these larger repack companies that are really operating in the space, maybe you are taking some, shiny inserts and you're sending them off for the $15 grading, and then you're not having to buy secondhand. You're not having to pay at a show. Sure, you can do that and see if maybe you can get deals for certain things that you're looking for. But you could also just pull some of the new product out, send it off for grading, and it flies into a repack product. I don't know. That's the only thing that makes sense to me when you have record grading numbers, when transaction velocity and flipping activity is lower than it has been going back a couple of years. And for those that maybe have graded cards, but they don't really want to do all the ins and outs, don't have time really to sell on eBay, DC Sports 87, today's video sponsor, they can take care of all of that for you. You just shoot it off to them in one package. They auction it off. It's all updated on the website in real time as auctions end and people pay. 1 business day turnaround to request your money and get it on your way to you. It is a very simple process working through DC Sports 87, so make sure to check them out. All right, second story, and this stuff drives me absolutely nuts. I'm getting so tired of this. Bronny James has a 1-of-1 refractor variation picture refractor that was just pulled, superfractor, excuse me, 1-of-1. And this really bothers me. So Collectibles Guru posted this on Twitter, and the way that he worded this, he kind of covers himself a little bit. It's nearly impossible to gauge the value of this card without any comps, and this is all of these cards. There's all of these, hey, throw in a 1-of-1 superfractor, a Fraggle Rock, you know, and whatever. It's a $10,000 card, it's a superfractor. He says, it's almost undoubtedly a $10,000 plus card. So it's nearly impossible to figure out what it's worth based on what he said in the first part of the statement because there's no comps, but it's undoubtedly a $10,000 plus card. No, it's not undoubtedly anything. It could be a damn $10 card. And this is the stuff that drives me nuts. Bronny James, you know, look, it'd be one thing if he was LeBron James Part 2. He's not. He's not. Bronny James is not going to be LeBron. He's not going to be Jordan or Kobe. He's not a top 25 college recruit, but he might be a top 10 draft pick for the NBA. Come on. You know, the only reason that someone is going to use a high draft pick on Bronny James is to get LeBron to come over there so they can sell some jerseys for a year or two and make some money off of the whole deal. Nobody is looking to pick up Bronny James because he is going to be a centerpiece of their franchise. I just can't stand this like, oh, it's a Bronny James. It's his first, you know, the superfractor 1-of-1. At least for Wembanyama, it's a NBA talent. So it's a, you know, #1 overall pick. Maybe a generational talent in Wemby. Bronny James is just a kid. He's a kid that's attached to LeBron. Got a decent skill set, but it's because his last name is James that we're even having this conversation. And to say it's undoubtedly a $10,000 plus card, it just feeds this BS machine that we're doing with the, you know, the find the lottery ticket in the packs thing, you know, that's really been taken too far. You know, I get chase cards, you know, going back to the 90s, we always, you know, a lot of guys collecting like the 90s inserts and that sort of stuff. That's fine. But you know what? It's just gone too stupid now. It's gone a little bit too dumb, you know, to where everything is undoubtedly a $10,000 plus card. No. It's kind of like, you know, oh, someone put a $100,000 bounty on a card, so it's worth $100,000. No, it's not. That's not what the market will pay for it. That's what a company is offering to sell product. A company is putting a bounty on there like, please, all right, let's put this huge bounty so that we sell out of all these boxes. And then, yeah, we get the card back. Even if we sell it for a portion of that, it's marketing money. It drives me absolutely crazy. Brian Gray actually had commented here on Twitter, garbage card. This is a sure loser in the long run, probably in the short term and the long run. And he's right. You know, Brian Gray, he normally speaks his mind, but now he's not attached to an industry company. He can say whatever he wants. All right, guys, that's all that I've got today. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.